So, y'all girl AOC tripping. That's what I heard. We gonna talk about it. So, I don't know if y'all know this, but lately, AOC has been proving to be a little bit untrustworthy. Only lately, though. Only lately. Because if you ask anybody, like myself, I might say the writing has been on the wall this entire time and you should have been paying attention instead of attacking everyone who tried to tell you the truth, instead of pretending as if you're blindly loyal to your deity, Madam AOC, that anything will change. When we talk to y'all about, we're not even going to get into that right now. But this time, AOC has proven to be a little bit duplicitous on her stance on immigration and what we are seeing down at the border, which is, of course, a border crisis. More specifically, of course, and as always, it is an imperialism crisis. And we wanted to hear why AOC hasn't really been speaking on the issues as far as immigration is concerned, like she did under the Trump administration, and the excuse that she gives might make your stomach turn a bit. So let's go ahead and check that video out.
Is that the fact that this keeps happening over and over and over again is a political failure by both parties. And I want to be very clear about that, because I don't want to draw false equivalence. What is happening here is not the same as what happened during the Trump administration, where they took babies out of the arms of their mothers and deported their families and permanently traumatized these children, some of whom we don't know will ever be reunified with their family again, which is a level of human rights violation that is just simply not the same. Both of these things are barbaric and they're wrong. But when you rip a baby out of the hands of a mother, you cannot draw the same comparison. And anyone who is trying to do that is doing a profound disservice to the cause of justice. So I don't want to excuse any of this, but I don't think we should also get them twisted together, because one is not the same. And we cannot dust that under the rug. And by the way, those families are owed reparations, period.
I don't know what else. What else do I... Which part do we talk about first? The two things that are happening, or the thing that is happening in this administration, what you said, is not what happened in the last administration. Children are still being ripped from their parents' arms. And that's how they end up in these overflow facilities. Once upon a time, formerly known as cages. They are victims of imperialism. Imperialism that, by the way, has been ramped up since Joe Biden has taken office. And that's saying something, because Donald Trump is honestly on a tear in South and Central America. So that's the same. Okay. She is right about one thing. Both parties are guilty of it, but let's make no mistake about it. When it was time to call out this issue under the Trump administration, they had no problem saying Donald Trump, while simultaneously refusing to admit and discuss the fact that Obama was nicknamed the deporter-in-chief. Trump, as hard as he tried, and he made it clear to people, but and he couldn't one of Did y'all see the little thing she do? Was she? These two things are not the same, and right where you're supposed to insert a fact to distinguish between these two situations, she's like, it can't compare to ripping a baby out of the arm. Oh my God. Hold up. Nah, like, you're supposed to distinguish the two, like, because these two things did happen under both administrations, or this thing did happen under both administrations, and yet you're talking about, like, you're just going to get emotionally charged, and that's supposed to get us psyched up. It's supposed to make us forget about or ignore the fact that you are being, once again, completely and totally duplicitous. Is that what that's for? You know who does that? You know what type of people do that? It's bad. You know, this is news day. Basically, everybody on the MCSE network, we've been telling y'all about AOC, and I know I've been gone for a little bit. I see this new wave. By the way, y'all see my fuck censorship shirt. Fuck censorship. Shout out to the Convo Couch for throwing that wonderful rally in DC on the 17th. But I've been seeing this little party now. And everybody thinks it's cool to diss on AOC. Everybody's pretending like we. Hold up. Why is it cool now? See, I've said time and time again here on this show, the moment that these people can no longer hide behind Bernie Sanders' name and his fame and the protection within the progressive movement that came from that, then they were all going to begin to expose themselves, and the mask would come off one by one, at least in a more public way. But if you were not a sycophant and you were actually paying attention to what was taking place, policy speaking, like regarding policy and consistency and moral aptitude, like, is this the same woman who deferred to the caucus on the issue of Venezuela? Okay, yeah. Is this the same woman who kissed Tulsi Gabbard's ass while she's running this? And then the moment Tulsi Gabbard announces she's running for president, and then releases the Off Fossil Fuels Act, AOC is nowhere to be found, despite the fact that she signed a document along with Ilhan Omar and Tim Canova and a lot of other Justice Democrats, brand new Congress members of progressives. They all signed on saying, because, you know, the Off Fossil Fuels Act is the most progressive piece of climate change legislation ever introduced in the history of the world, literally endorsed by over 400 climate and environmental organizations, never again seen or done, did not happen before, never again seen or done after. AOC signed on to that at one point, but then she introduces BS Green New Deal and ghosted Tulsi. But she's supposedly a climate activist. So it wasn't that. It wasn't the fact that she would get up on stage to talk about Bernie Sanders. And then what? Never mention Bernie Sanders' name? That was really cringeworthy. Remember that speech in Iowa? Where she gave an entire speech, didn't mention Bernie's name once. So it wasn't that, huh? It wasn't the fact that she continuously let Bree Joy Gray and Nina Turner get thrown under the bus. It wasn't the fact that she threw Tara Reid under the bus and lied and said that Tara Reid said she didn't say she wasn't going to vote for Joe Biden, and she didn't tell other people. Tara Reid was very explicit. Not only is she not voting for Joe Biden, but she's never going to vote for another Democrat again. Tara Reid, in an op-ed recently, a couple weeks ago, asked AOC, like, she pleaded saying, I wish that you would have stood with me like you stood with Cuomo's victims. Remember how she threw him? This is after the Me Too, remember? Because in a tweet, she said, Kavanaugh, anybody who was even asking for due process for Kavanaugh, y'all got to get primary. We got credible evidence against Joe Biden regarding the Tara Reid situation. All of a sudden, Me Too and Believe All Women just dissipated, never to be seen again. It wasn't the fact that she spent 10 months before eventually endorsing Bernie Sanders, uplifting his number one competition, not competition in the sense of Elizabeth Warren had the best chance to beat Bernie Sanders, but competition in the sense of Elizabeth Warren absolutely had the biggest chance to take votes away from Bernie Sanders, eventually hand those votes or delegates off to Joe Biden or Kamala or whoever. At least in the beginning, before we knew Kamala was going to drop out. But she could have peeled those votes off, handed them to whoever she wanted to, or just caused Bernie Sanders to lose in a way that he would never have done if Elizabeth Warren was never in the race. And that's exactly what happened. Who legitimized Elizabeth Warren in the eyes of progressives. Because what happened was, what people say, oh, Bernie Sanders would defend Elizabeth Warren. AOC also defends Elizabeth Warren. Therefore, we believe them. Therefore, she's a progressive. Screw everything else. Screw all the evidence we have proving otherwise. AOC helped to uplift Elizabeth Warren and ripped the ripped victory from the clutches of all of you Bernie supporters' hands. That AOC helped that. So am I surprised by this? Absolutely not. This is actually my expectation. What I am surprised by is how many people are late to the party. What I am surprised by is all of the things that have been able to come into fruition explicitly because y'all would not hold her accountable when we had the leverage to do so. What I'm surprised by was how many people from Forced to Vote and who backed Forced to Vote were attacked in order to defend this. This is who y'all were defending? We're out here, she's organizers, the real organizers for Medicare for All, the real ones, you know what I'm saying? Those, we're going to take their lead. So can we get Medicare for All now? No. Next time. She told y'all we weren't the real organizers. What's she organizing for? She's organizing to defend Joe Biden. That's what she's been on her time organizing for. Yo, whose man's is this? I need y'all to remember this going forward. Because last I checked, MCSC Network, we were right about AOC before basically everybody else. We were right about Elizabeth Warren well before everybody else. Years before everybody else, actually. Unfortunately, we were right about Bernie Sanders' role in the budget committee. We said he was there to legitimize an illegitimate administration. Guess what? We were right, unfortunately. We were right about Yang. Literally, our motto is MCSC. It's hard being right 6 months in advance all the time. That's literally our motto. But the reason we say this, the reason we mention this is because a lot of this stuff could have been prevented if y'all would have held them accountable when we had the leverage to do so. If y'all would have held AOC accountable when it was time to force a vote, when she endorsed Joe Biden, when she threw her under the bus, when she deferred to the caucus in Venezuela, when she was silent on Julian Assange, when she allowed Ilhan Omar to get thrown under the bus. Didn't tweet for 2 days. Thought we wouldn't notice. But we did. Because, of course, if AOC doesn't tweet, good God, the world stops. Now, the reason we say remember is because, once again, a lot of people are about to try to jump on this train. A lot of people are about to try to show up fastly late to the party. Like, my bad, y'all. We couldn't have possibly known, you know what I'm saying? But, we on the AOC bashing train now. Yeah, I bet. See, the thing is, we never bashed AOC, at least once upon a time. All we try to do was hold her accountable to make her aware that we were paying attention. Because if she's aware that we're paying attention, then she'll understand that her brand could potentially be negatively impacted by some of the duplicitous decisions, the selfish decisions, the opportunistic decisions that she had previously made. But when every time we tried to hold her accountable, y'all attacked us instead of attacking the person that you're paying, perhaps, to represent you, which I heard she ain't been doing the right things with that money either. That's a different conversation for a different video. Overall, you're going to have a lot of people do this. Oh man, how could we have seen this coming? Nonsense. And I'm not saying, obviously, don't watch people who... That's not what I'm saying. That's not what I'm saying. What I am saying is when the time comes again, and it will, as it always does. When the time comes for you to figure out if it's a controversial situation with one of these personalities, and that's what AOC is, a brand, it's the personality. And there are people saying, well, listen to us. Those people are just da-da-da-da-da. Those people, yeah, except for we've been consistently right and consistently honest. And have been consistently attacked for it. So, who would you rather? actually take the advice of when we're talking about these characters, these personalities, because they're gonna pretend like they didn't know better, and I'm telling you, they did, because I know a lot of these cats. We've talked, and several of them have made it very clear that their brand would suffer if they criticize AOC. Mm-hmm. And now they're going to try to use the fact that AOC is now unpopular to rebuild their brand, or to build upon it further when they didn't have the political courage to do the right thing when it could have saved everybody. Now they have the political courage to do the right thing when it basically just saves us from an AOC presidency, which is cool. But what it's really about is building their own brand, never having to actually show conviction and consistency. Just jumping on whatever wave they need to ride. And that doesn't help any of us. It definitely doesn't help you. So remember this going forward. Like I said, I don't know who's mad at it. AOC just that's y'all's man. That's not me. She ain't come with me to the party. She came with y'all. Had to, because I didn't invite her. With that being said, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for tuning into this segment of Mikasa and Sukasa. And always remember, more than anything else, find your balance.